Hey mini enthusiasts, how you doing? Welcome back. Hope you're having a great day and I hope you're all well. This, I think, is probably the last Project Sprout build video. So we'll have a couple more. Obviously one with the detailed buttery shots around the car with everything finished, and maybe one more on the budget and a little bit of a Q&A on the car. But I literally have done everything now, pending getting the car MOT'd. Obviously shouldn't be a problem. I just need to clean some stuff up. So the kind of final bits really are car cover I'll talk about in a moment, parcel shelf. This is a proper MPI one, an original MPI one. It had just had some black carpet put in there before. I don't know why, because it still had the original speakers, but they put black carpet in, it wasn't that great. So I managed to get off eBay for a reasonable price actually. It was 20 quid delivered. Some people try and sell these for like 40 quid with postage, which is a bit excessive I think. So I managed to buy that off eBay. It's pretty good condition. It's the original parcel shelf carpet. And you might have remembered earlier on, I tried repairing the head unit and I didn't have much luck really, because I think the head unit wasn't in the car, it was outside the car in the damp garage, and it had got wet in the bottom, corroded all the printed circuit board, but the head unit still lit up. You could still plug it in and it lit up. It obviously didn't work. Now I've been looking for another head unit for a while. I've been looking, these are actually a Philips R660 head unit, so you can buy a very similar head unit without the Mini logo on. Philips R660, they range from sort of 40 to 80 quid, depending on condition really. Now, if you want one with a Mini logo on, the prices tend to go a little bit nuts. Probably talking, I don't know, 120 quid upwards, maybe a little bit more. There was a brand new one in box, new old stock, hadn't been fitted, went on eBay recently for 450 quid I think, which is just unbelievable. So I've been looking for a while. Someone locally put on the Brighton Mini Club site that they were selling some MPI bits, and they had a head unit, 65 quid with the code. So I'm well made up. I bought that, tried it, it works. So that's absolutely fantastic, that is. And that means I'll have a spare as well, a non-working spare, which I'll probably put in PL at some point. But what I plan to do is buy the cheaper version of this, the Philips R660. I just need one which works, condition doesn't matter at all, because all I'll do is I'll just take the faceplate off this, the bit with the Mini logo, and just swap them over, and then I'll have two original Mini head units. Speakers, unfortunately, out of the two speakers on the car, only one works, and it only kind of works. It sounds really crackly and horrible. As you can see, the grille on these is really, really rusty and manky. But I want to keep the original look. So I'm going to take this apart, take the grills off, so I can get the grills off, then hopefully I can go to Halfords and buy similar size speakers and fit them inside these original grills. I can swap the terminals over because I can solder them on, and then hopefully I can get the stereo system working pretty much as standard, as new. Realised I waffled on a bit. Let's get into it. Little tip, in case you're doing the same as I'm doing and you want to keep it standard looking, this grill actually just clips on the front of the speaker. That literally, I've just got a couple of clips inside there and it just clips on. Very easy to remove. We'll get these grills painted now. What I actually use is some satin black paint, because I don't think they were shiny from new. In fact, I'm pretty sure they're not shiny. So we scotch pad that up, mask off that, and just use some satin black and then I'll measure these speakers up, look on the Halfords website and see if there's anything which is similar I can put in. Right, just been on the Halfords website looking for speakers. Quite difficult to find some. They're kind of a funny size, they are. So the hole in the rear parcel shelf is 13 centimetres. So it's too big, hole's too big for a 13 centimetre speaker, which they usually list at sort of 5 or 5¼ inches. And the hole's too small for a 16.5 centimetre speaker by probably about 10 mil. The whole size for a 6.5 inch or 17 centimetre speaker is about 140 mil, 150 mil. So I think we're going to go for the bigger speakers, and I'll have to buy them and try and find some way of mounting them without cutting holes. I might be able to mount them from underneath. I thought I'd just mention quickly, so I'm sure some people will ask, what did you spray the speaker grills with? Bit weird this, so they got a really nice matte finish. I've done the plastic as well, because it was a bit discoloured, and they come out really nicely, and I've done this before on speaker grills. It seems to work pretty well. Don't know how hard wearing it is. It's what I've done PL speaker grills with it. They seem okay. It gives a really nice sort of matte black finish. Now you could probably buy some matte black paint, but sometimes you use what you've got in the cupboard. So that's what I used on them. It's coal paint for like gas-fired or gas fueled coal fires. So you've got the fake coal in there, and this is some spray I bought just for spraying them, but it's a really deep sort of matte black. It's really no shine to it at all, which makes it really good, and it's heat resistant to 1250 degrees Fahrenheit should the car get that hot inside. But they did come out really well actually, taking in mind they're second-hand grills and they're all rusty. Quite pleased with the finish. Right then, we've been busy. It's turned into a bit of a mission, this has. So after lots of searching around the internet, different speakers, different manufacturers, different types, I couldn't find anything which is going to fit in the standard hole of a Mini that fits snugly. So it's not either way bigger or way smaller. Obviously way smaller, it's not going to help because the hole's too big, and I don't want to go cutting up the rear parcel shelf. It hasn't been cut yet. No one's stuck any big bad boy 6x9s in it or anything like that. It's a standard size hole. The difficult bit is the way these speakers are designed. So these are actually reasonably big, these speakers. I didn't realise. So they're 16 centimetres in diameter. Most of the aftermarket ones, they say they're either 16, 16.75 or 17. But the difference, like I say, is the mounting, the hole diameter you need and the mounting depth. So there isn't much out there. I couldn't find anything that would fit. So I've had to kind of engineer a bit of a solution. So the idea with this is we can use the original grills. I could just fit these speakers with aftermarket grills, Pioneer grills, but I don't want to do that. I want to keep it looking as original as possible. Like I say, I don't want to cut the rear shelf. So after a bit of searching, I found these speakers at Halfords Pt.75, 30 quid. They're really cheap. They actually get really good reviews. And like I say, I don't want to downsize the speaker. I'm no expert on audio stuff at all, but I think size does matter with speakers. I've bought some really expensive Alpine speakers in the past, like 10 centimetre small ones to put somewhere, and they just sound rubbish. There is almost like the saying, there's no replacement for displacement. The more money you spend with speakers, the better, but also size matters as well. If you want to get a good, deep, rich sound out of them, it's all about the size and the quality of the speakers. These are really cheap, and I used to be a right basshead back in the time. I used to love my audio gear, spend loads of money on it, but all we're really trying to achieve here is replacing the OE speakers, the original speakers, with something that's not going to look leery and modified from the outside. So I've actually engineered a bit of a solution here. So the original speakers fit on with three 8mm nuts. These are captive studs in the actual speaker surround itself, and they sit on some plastic sort of spacer brackets. Now the actual rear parcel shelf cover, the parcel shelf carpet in an MPI Mini is actually quite deep. It's probably about 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little bit more than that. So this actually lifts it up off the parcel shelf itself. It must leave a bit of an air gap there. Don't know why they do that, maybe for acoustic reasons or something like that. So what I thought I'd do is I'd try and make something so I can use the original fixings, the original grills, so it's really going to look pretty stock when you look at it. So I've gone, basically what I've done, I've taken the old speaker and I've gone round it with a cutting disc, and I've cut out that outer frame out the speaker. So that gives me the original mountings. It's going to fit in the original holes, and then once I've cut that out, I've then just painted it black, and these are the Pioneer speakers. As you can see, I've just drilled them. I've put the original outer ring on. I've got the original spacers on there, which means it will fit the original fittings. It will fit through the original hole, and yeah, and it means the speaker grill will fit and clip on as well. And I'm pretty pleased with that. It's going to look. In fact, I can clip that on now. Let me do that. So there we go. That is going to go straight in the original hole. It won't look modified at all. I did consider spraying. There's a little bit of silver inside there. I did consider spraying that. I think that might be going a little bit too far, but I'm really pleased with that. So we got brand new speakers, up to date, modern. They'll sound reasonably good, and they're going to fit the OE holes. So let me get the other side done. I might time lapse this if you just want to see how it goes. First thing we're going to do is put this speaker out of the way, because speakers are obviously magnetic. I'm going to be doing a bit of cutting and grinding. You've got to make sure you don't get it all over the new speakers. So yeah, I'm made up with that, and I've even used the original plug, soldered it onto the back of the terminals. So yes, very pleased. And that is how you wreck a speaker. Right, OCD getting the better of me now. So I'm going to do a couple of things here. One, obviously, because the standard speakers they were what I would call not directional, so it didn't matter which way they went. But the new ones it does matter because they've got the Pioneer logo on them. So a couple of things I'm going to do. First one, like I've done with this one, black Sharpie. I'm not going to paint it. Just go over the Pioneer logo and turn it black so that when it's then looking through the grille, you will not be able to see it. I also just need to make sure, or try to make sure, that the grills are sort of in the same position, although it doesn't matter now. Now I've sort of rubbed out that logo, but again, OCD always gets the better of me. Right, so doing that with a Sharpie means it doesn't really matter which way round it goes. Right, so that's that ring all painted up now. It's yeah, it could be a bit neater. It's functional. You're not going to see it. And you'll see me each time using compressed air. That's just to blow the metal shavings away from the speaker. Right, there we go, all done. I've just got to put them back in the car, so I'll try and get a photo in a moment or a bit of a video of them back in the car. But it's taken me, do you know what, by the time I've faffed around, spent time Googling, etc, etc, I've probably spent 3 or 4 hours doing this. But as you know, as lots of people kindly say, sometimes it's all about the attention to detail. So those speakers will go in now. They're uprated speakers. They'll go in on the original fittings and they'll fit in the original hole without having to cut any holes or anything like that. And there should be a big, well, there will be a massive improvement over the standard speakers, even if the standard speakers were brand new. But obviously the standard speakers were shot to bits. Very difficult now to find some decent speakers just because of the age. Even the newest ones are going to be 21 years old. So 21 years old, so yeah, no real chance of getting new old stock in good condition really. So yeah, quite pleased about that. Let me get them in. I'll show you the photos or the video in a moment. Just thanks very much for watching as usual. Please remember to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed the content. If you are a subscriber, then thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching the videos. If you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing. Very difficult to see, I would imagine, but there's the speakers in there, and yeah, I'm really pleased. It looks really stock.